on. Okay, right. So you have to guide me, right? All right. So this is a little background then. No background, in terms of overall background, we'll try to. We'll start with meditation, just to give you a sense of what meditation is about. And I'll try within the 15 minutes that I've got, tell you a little bit about mindfulness and how it can help you with managing your life, not only your life, but to become successful in life, whatever success means to you. So that's what I'm going to cover. If we do have enough time, I do have a video which is a BBC breakfast program at all. It's about 12 minutes. It talks about what is mindfulness. A very small portion of what mindfulness is, but nevertheless it gives you some sense of what mindfulness is about. Okay. The other thing I want to say, obviously, I think it's important for you to know why am I leading this, whether kind of like what makes me kind of like able to teach this. Basically, I've got passion mechanical engineering, master's in mechanical engineering. It was about 15 years ago I decided to do something different. In fact, through struggling with life, I decided to go and do psychology. So I've got a graduate diploma in psychology. And I've also got a master of counseling, where basically I learned a lot about mindfulness. So that's kind of a real background. I do a lot of training outside and in Forward. I've done something like 30 workshops in Forward. So I've got quite a bit of exposure at what people are suffering, what other people struggle, especially in management role, because most of my training so far has been kind of like in management rank. Now moving into Forward to train the engineers and the...
So this morning we talked about sort of doing more exercise.
So I'd like to start just to give you a bit of an experience of a mindfulness.
Philip, if I may, just before you go further, I don't want to do which video and which presentation.
All right. So this one here.
I believe it's the BBC breakfast.
Yeah, and this is on here. Okay. So I'd like to start with between 5 and 10 minutes meditation, just to give you a bit of a first-hand experience as to what mindfulness meditation is about. And we'll talk about how to feel about this. Okay? But let me just explain to you in terms of the process. Mindfulness is very structured, very process, right? It's interesting that as I'm teaching mindfulness, I use a lot of technical and engineering approach in terms of what mindfulness is about. It's very technical, very process-oriented. But let me explain to you what I'm trying to do. If you go on YouTube or Google, if you look up stop mindfulness meditation, you'll probably pick up some kind of what I'm doing. Not exactly, but some kind of doing. Stop essentially means stop, take a deep breath, observe what's going on before you proceed into the next stages in your life. That's what the stop is. I'm going to modify it today in the sense that typically stop mindfulness meditation is what we do like when our mind is very scattered, like at work, we have enough jobs, when everybody wants a piece of us, we're out of control, we've got so much stuff to do, we don't know what is it that is most important. So you do this stop mindfulness meditation to get centered, grounded, before you proceed to what is important, right? But in this session I'm going to do with you, I'd like to expose you to observe what's going on in here. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to just look at the thought process that the mind goes through. Just observe the thought and see what's going on. Okay? Now, in the meditation I'm going to teach you, I'm going to ask you to feel the breath, feel your body sensation, feel your emotion. Now, people say to me, what do you mean by feel? Okay? Because I say, don't think, okay? Just feel. I say, oh, what do you mean by feel? I must be thinking because my brain is here. Well, true and not true. From an engineering point of view, the best way to explain it is to say, if you're observing a raw signal or from the sensor, you're just observing the signal input is what feelings about. I say feel the breath. You feel the breath by feeling your abdomen and your chest expanding and contracting. And you feel the freshness of the air going to you. That's feeling, okay? I haven't thought about it, right? Okay? Cool? Right, you just always talk meditation about feeling, okay? There's some thinking later on in the further when we become a little bit more advanced, you can do thinking, but initially it's more about feeling, okay? Now, anybody has any problem trying a bit of meditation? No, it's not like hypnotism, right? So I'm not going to get you to do anything that you won't remember that you've done, okay? So, all right. So typically, when we do meditation, it's almost like the brain needs some code. It needs to have some connection to say, okay, when we do meditation, you see people do all kind of signs. For me, it's simple. It's just do like this. Okay? See like this? Just put it gently on your lap. Okay? Now, again, the other thing is meditation. You may be relaxing, but it's intended to for you to stay awake. Meditation is, according to one of the groups, says, it's the art of learning to fall awake. So you're not supposed to fall asleep. And one of the things that you do not fall asleep, because sometimes you do meditation for quite an extended period, you need to be balanced like yoga. Okay? So you need to sit, don't lean your back, right? Sit away from the back, straight, spine straight, so that you can kind of like shake your body a little bit, feel balance, okay? Balance in a neutral position. Okay, so almost like your head is going to come from the crown of your head. Chin tucked in a little just to breathe. Okay, I'd like you to just do this and we'll start meditation here. We'll start the meditation with the sound of the bell and we'll finish the meditation with the sound of the bell. Okay? Alright, let's go. Okay, I'd like you to just be here with me. You don't need to do anything, just letting go of all the stuff that's been happening to you up until this present moment of now. You be aware that you've got a body, that within that body you've got a frame that's supporting you. And you notice that the body is breathing. Feeling the breath, the in-breath through the expansion of your chest or your belly. And I'd like you, as best you can, focus all your attention just on feeling the breath, just this breath. As you breathe in, you can feel the breath through the expansion of under your chest, feeling the stroke. And as you breathe out, you can feel the breath through the contraction of your chest or your belly. Breath by breath as it comes. As best you can, 100% of your attention focusing on feeling this breath. Not talking about thinking. Don't turn the breath into a thought. Just feeling it. No need to process. Just feel the breath as it comes. Breathing in. Feeling the breath. Breathing out. Feeling the breath. Even noticing the interval between the in-breath and the out-breath. No need to control your breath in any way. Just trust your body for it to breathe itself. Breath by breath as it comes. Best you can, 100% of your attention focusing just on your breath. Feeling this breath, just this breath. And you will notice as you try to focus all your attention on just feeling the breath, that thought will come up to try to distract your attention. That's alright, it's not a problem. That's what mind does. It just generates thoughts. But when you become aware that thought is popping up, I'd like you to just label the thought as just thinking. Just repeat the word thinking. And getting the feeling from the buttocks, just in the area of the buttocks, just there. See what comes up. Might take a little while for the sensation to come up. I think you just observe what signal your body is sending you, what sensation of the area of your buttocks. Contact between your buttocks and the seat. Feel this hardness, softness, warm. Whatever comes up, I'd like you not to judge it, not to explain it, not to wish for it to be different. Just observing the raw signal that your body is sending you. Just in that area around your buttocks. Focusing your attention, observing the sensation that's coming from the area of your buttocks. See what body signal you're getting. Okay, I'd like you now to zoom out your attention. Just try and go and observe any body sensation that comes up. You might get some intense sensation from some part of your body where you might be carrying an injury, maybe some tightness around the shoulder. Whatever comes up, I'd like you to not try and judge it or process it or fix it. Just observe the raw signal. In fact, if there's a pain signal coming from any part of your body, just try and be curious. Go and see what's going on there. Breathe into that area. Just almost like breathe your attention into that area and just observe what happens to the sensation. Not trying to fix anything, just trying to observe, checking in at the moment. observing the thought bubble as it appears. You don't do anything with it, you just recognize it, and then you allow it to float away and pop. And then you go back and observe what is the next thought, or what is the next stream of thought that comes up. Just observing the thinking process, the thought generating process, without processing anything. Just observing. Could be thought about what you're doing at the moment, could be thought about your exam, could be thought about what you did last night, could be thought about dinner, whatever comes up, just recognize it. But don't process it, don't do anything with it. Just observing how thought are formed, how they are created and dissipate and up. Some of the thought might be scary or nice, or some of them in the past, some of them in the future. Whatever thought comes up, like you just observe the thought, the thinking process, without processing it. Thinking about what you need to do, thinking about something you forgot to do, thinking about somebody who is nasty to you, thinking about food, whatever. Just observing. But don't add to the thought, don't process it. Just observing the thinking process as it comes. Okay, I'd like you now to go back to feeling the breath. Take a few moments just to go back to feeling the breath until we finish meditation. That sound of the bell. Just breathing in, feeling this breath, feeling expansion of your chest and your tummy. Breathing in, breathing out, breath by breath as it comes. When you hear the sound of the bell, slowly open your eyes. In your own time, no rush. Come back to the room when you hear the sound of the bell. Back to earth. All right. How was it like? Who'd like to share a bit of what they're going through? What was happening for you? Yeah.
Just lots of thoughts.
Yeah.
First couple of minutes coming up and thinking about letting the thoughts go and going, well, that's another thought. So that's just thinking first.
What was happening for you?
Yeah, similar, like there was a times where you have like, sensation in the body.
Okay. You felt the sensation.
Yeah.
Cool. How do you feel now? Feel relaxed? Anybody feel relaxed? Yeah, a lot. Have you had this kind of relaxation for a little while, right?
It's difficult not to get affected by the thoughts.
Yeah,
It's difficult to become a passenger with your thoughts.
yeah, and add to it.
Yeah.
It's very hard not to, and this is part of the mindfulness training, to recognize that this here is a thought generator, and for you to recognize that that is what's happening, and for you to make the decision as to what thought you're going to capture that's important, what thought that's rubbish that you can let go, what thought is creating anxiety for you to let it go. So you need to train yourself to recognize the thought to start with, and then inbuilt in that training, what you're going to do with it. It's almost like, for me, from an engineering point of view, how do you become efficient at managing that so much CPU capacity and emotional capacity. If you get caught too much on the rubbish, especially the rubbish that creates fear, anger, anxiety, and vengeance, all that kind of stuff, it's just destructive. But thought are there to allow us to invent, create, and solve problems, right? But it's just that we need to know when they occur to pick them up and to let the other stuff. I mean, the other aspect of it is that I always describe this as almost like a computer. Okay? Now, I don't know, sometimes, let's say you open Word or an Excel spreadsheet, and the machine goes, it's not opening, right? It's taking its time, right? And you wonder, well, what's going on here, right? And the reason why it's taking a long time because the CPU and the whole system is consumed by lots of background operation that's not useful to you, but it's just been accumulating, right? And access to CPU is unlimited; it's all consumed. Your mind is a bit like that, right? If you're not focused, you're not putting your attention where it's meant to be, then you're not using your CPU effectively. So almost like it used to be that the best idea, and I find lots of solutions by problem in the shower in the morning. Okay, that's because my mind is not cluttered, right? But you can actually train yourself to have that clear mind anytime you want, not just only in the morning, right? Through shutting down the background loop that's going on there, that's not useful, especially the scary one that takes away emotion. So that's kind of like what meditation does. Look, meditation in a simplistic term in mindfulness is simply training the mind for you to be mentally fit. Right? We go to the gym lifting weight, right, to become physically fit. Mindfulness meditation is sitting down doing nothing to train your mind to be fit. That's kind of like the equivalence of it. But let me tell you, meditation is not mindfulness, okay? So some people you hear a lot on the news like, oh, mindfulness meditation is thing to do, just go mindfulness. Well, yeah, good to meditation, but I think for people like us who, especially technical people who just want to sustain that boring, so-called boring stuff, unless you understand what it's doing for us, it just does not work. We need to understand what it is about, to start with. Okay. Anybody else wants to add anything else? Who felt some pain they didn't know they had? Yeah? Right. Well, one of the things is that the mind has got a way of covering everything, right? When you're aware, you're here, you can feel and sense lots of stuff that the brain is just glossed over. Did you breathe into your pain? What happened? Disappear? Did it disappear? No. Typically, there's mindfulness therapy that actually teaches us to meditate. And when people with chronic pain use mindfulness, because the neuroscience research is showing that the process, as I understand, is that when you got a pain, your body's got an injury or chronic problem with you. The body's meant to tell you that there's something wrong, not working properly. So it's sending you signals. See, I have an injury here. Okay, the body's supposed to tell me that there's some pain in there. But if I know that that pain is because of this injury and I've got it treated, okay, right? It's been dealt with. But what typically happens in terms of pain is that when I get the pain, I keep on wanting to measure. Was it better than yesterday? I wish it wasn't there. And the minute you do that, in the brain, there's a part of the brain that actually seems to amplify that signal, which creates kind of like a worse pain sensation. It keeps the pain sensation there, and that you are alert with. Typically, the way mindfulness meditation is used is to basically, I've got a pain in here, I need to acknowledge the pain, I breathe into it, and curiously it disappears, because the brain says, okay, I know it's there, don't worry, it's not harming me, it's an injury, it's supposed to be painful. However, if you've got a pain in your back, and you ignore it, you go and dig the garden, that's like you're in peril, right? So, and I don't really know how much you've heard about mindfulness. There's lots of mindfulness in the press. People talk about mindfulness is being in the present, mindfulness about acceptance, mindfulness about living in the moment. What does that mean? Okay. But what I teach more is about how do we use mindfulness for wellness at work and for efficacy. How do we become more efficient in using this stuff in here? So let me start by asking a question. What does intelligence mean for you? Intelligence, what's the definition of intelligence? You got a degree in intelligence.
The ability, I think it's the ability to absorb certain information.
Okay, ability to absorb information.
Yeah, and make sense of it, and
Make sense of it.
be able to use it someplace.
Being able to use it. What is intelligent?
Yeah, processing.
Processing, the ability to process something. Okay, what is intelligent?
Understanding.
Understanding.
Understanding to break it down.
What is intelligent to you?
Smart.
Smart, yeah. What's intelligent?
Thinking.
Thinking. Good at thinking. Cool. All right. If you go on Google or go in the dictionary, you look at intelligence. There's lots of definition. People might think intelligence like you have lots of knowledge, your ability to solve problems, your ability to observe, your ability to having an education, learn a lot of information. But the point in all that, you cannot be intelligent unless you know how to use it. You can have all the information in the world, but if you're not able to apply it in the right moment, in the right situation, you're done. Doesn't matter how much information you got, right? So when I was doing psychology, the best information, the best definition of I picked up in terms of intelligence is an intelligent person has got the ability to assess the current situation, okay, and is able to respond to them in a way that's best. Right? So you understand that. Your ability, right? It's like when you're doing calculus, right? In this time slice, I need to be able to observe what's going on around me right here, in this present moment. Not yesterday, not in the future, but right now, in the present moment. Using the knowledge that I've got, using my training to be able to solve problems, right? To be able now to respond, what do I do now? Do I say, wife, just go back to sleep, stop worrying? Or do I say to the boss, oh yes, you look so great today, and he's feeling bad, he's telling me. You know what I mean? So it's the aspect of intelligence, in my definition from mindfulness point of view, is your ability to observe the input into you, to be able to process it, using it in the context of the present moment, and respond to it for the best outcome. I don't say the best outcome is for you or for somebody else. The best outcome, whatever that is, whether it's for you, somebody else, or the environment. Okay? It's a little bit like, I don't know, you're probably not married, but you got a girlfriend or boyfriend. You say something or you respond to a situation with your girlfriend and she likes it. Oh yeah, I love it. Oh, and then similar situation today happened. You respond. She's angry with you and says, "Hey, what's going on here? You liked it last time. What happened?" Well, something's changed, right? That means you're not present. You were not observant enough to realize that the situation between now is different to yesterday when she was happy. Okay, so that's not being intelligent. That's being either dumb or emotionally dumb or whatever. So the reason why it's important because for us to succeed, intelligence is very important, right? And if you look at mindfulness, mindfulness is trying to create an awareness in us in such a way that our senses becomes more sensitive in our environment. Okay? But always in the present moment, in the context of the present moment. Okay? So if you want to be intelligent or act intelligently, you need to be here, you need to be present, and you need to be aware of what's going on around you, including what's going on inside you, your body. Okay? So that's why that is so important. Cool? Understand that? All right, so let me just quickly go through then a few definition about what mindfulness is about and how it's being used, and then we can go into questions and answers. We've done the stop mindfulness meditation. Like I say, I teach this And I encourage most people who attend to do a stop mindfulness meditation at least once, sometimes twice a day, when you're scattered, when you want to ground yourself. Because you notice part of this meditation that you've just done, it's almost like you turn off all the background loop. Now your brain, you're fresh now, you can start again. But in that process, in here which I've done with you, the last portion of it is to actually go, not to observe the thought as I've done with you, but to actually starting to go through your to-do list, checklist. Okay? And then, as you're going through the to-do list, through the checklist, you're starting to assess which one of those are the most important thing for you to attend to in the next hour, half a day, a week. And recognize all the rubbish, all the worries, all the stuff that's not important right now, do not have to deal with them. Okay, so that's what the stop mindfulness meditation does for you. It helps you with a clear mind to prioritize what you need to do. Okay, so that's kind of like what your stop mindfulness meditation is about. Okay, what do you see? What do you see in here on there? Black dot, the little computer game. What is that? What do you see? Really? You see a cube there?
Yeah.
I see black dots in with one piece of paper. Why do you see the cube? You've joined the line.
Like you end up thinking, why are there those lines inside the dots? And then you...
Yeah, but I'm saying it's black dots on white background, right? So the point here, everything that comes into us is not real. It's what we do with it. It's our perception of what we see. Because the mind needs to make sense of everything that comes into us, right? So the mind has got this phenomenal ability to create things that's not there. Okay? Especially stuff that could cause emotional pain, right? And it's important to recognize that the mind, the way it works, which is fantastic, by the way, when used properly, when used negatively, can be dangerous. So you need to realize that the mind, firstly, every input that you get, you need to make sense of it. And typically, because of survival, we're very negative in our assessment. We always see the worst out of everything, right? But it's important to understand that the mind creates its own reality that might not be there. This is what I'm trying to say here. Okay? There's no cube here, right? But because your mind has that need to make sense of in this created reality, right? So it's important to understand this is, so how do you ensure that whatever signal you're getting into your system, your body, your brain, is real? Okay, so mindfulness is about how do you build up that ability to process the signal that you see what is here rather than what you'd like to be here. What you'd like to be here. Because lots of time we like lots of stuff, right? We create a reality out of wanting a certain outcome, which is not possible, right? If you look at the real reality, you expect that outcome cannot be there. If you'd like that outcome to be there, you change the reality to force the outcome. It doesn't work, and then you get disappointed, right? Including in your technical analysis, right? Problem solving. I'm not sure you've done Inform, how the process goes, global AD process of problem solving. The first step is, when you've got a problem, to solve it, the first step is to gather all information like Sherlock Holmes, right? You gather all the information, but if in that process, you jump to the conclusion of what the cause is, you're dead. You'll never find the right root cause. Because once you've made up your mind, you go through a process of what we call in psychology reinforcement bias. Okay? So that all information that comes into you, those that support your theory, you'll use it to reinforce your theory. All information that doesn't support your theory, you'll just rationalize it out. Okay? So, this is why once you jump to that conclusion, if it's not time yet, right? You process information to see what you'd like to see, not what is actually there. Okay? So how do you train through mindfulness your brain to recognize when you're doing it and not to allow yourself to get into that? This is part of what we're talking about. So creation of, kind of like corrupting the raw signal, corrupting the information is dangerous. And we do it a lot of time, by the way, a lot of times. That's one of the problems we do. Okay, intelligence we talk about. Intelligence is the ability to assess the input from our environment in the context of the present moment and respond to it to achieve the best outcome. If we're able to do that, we can. So then the question is, what does it take to act intelligently as much as we can, as many, let's say, how can we act intelligently 40% of the time instead of now being 20%? Because that's kind of like where we're at the moment. A lot of the decision we make, a lot of the conclusion we make, probably about, we only get it right about 30% of the time. And then we go through that repeat circular feedback loop to get it right at the end. How do we increase that from 30 to 40, 50, 60%? To see what's here rather than what we'd like to be here is what we're talking about. And that's how mindfulness, training of the mind, to observe and allow yourself to see things for what it is so important, okay, for you to be intelligent. So what is mindfulness and how can it be practiced to increase our intelligence is what we're talking about, right? Intelligence. When I'm talking intelligence, I'm just kind of like, it's not intelligence, it's also our ability to create, our ability to innovate. All of that, to focus our attention on what's important, right, is what we're talking about. Because now we're allowing access to our intelligence, to our CPU in here, more than we could. Okay. So I've just picked up a few statements in here. So it's not engineering, it's not science, it's just broad statement. What is mindfulness? So mindfulness is training of the mind that was practiced by ancestors. It's to reduce the self-generated suffering. Initially, that's where that came from. And our ancestors worked it out clearly. We have to, throughout the ages, life is so scary, right? You create very kind of like your own imaginary scaring story, right? So ancestors worked out through the training of the mind, through mindfulness, how to deal with it. But what's happened is that during the course of the human evolution, the Buddhists are the only big portion of people who's taken it down the ages to us today. If you look at how mindfulness is being developed as a discipline in the Western world, they're doing a lot of work with the Buddhists. Now, Buddhism, people say it's religion. Actually, it's not really a religion. It's more a philosophy. There's some religious aspect of it, but mostly philosophy. So that's what they're using. But you'll hear a lot of people say mindfulness isn't Buddhism, and Buddhism is not mindfulness. It is not true. It's only half true. In terms of Buddhism, if people know anything about Buddhism, you cannot get to enlightenment unless you practice mindfulness. But Buddhism is not mindfulness. It's just a vehicle to get you to where you're going to go. Okay? So that's kind of like, but mindfulness is really the process that takes you there. Okay? So mindfulness increases our ability to see what is really happening, not imagine or misperceive. A lot of misperception. Okay? It's about living in the present moment, here and now. And again, for you to be intelligent, you can't be sensing signal that you thought was like yesterday, but isn't, right? So it needs to be in the here and now. This is why mindfulness is about being in the present, here and now. It helps us to get off autopilot when we need to make important decisions. Okay? Because typically, life is very complicated, and I would suggest that probably we're on autopilot, I don't know, 60-70% of the time we're on autopilot because we're just living. But when it is important for us to be here, we need to be in the present. So mindfulness helps us come off autopilot. It helps us manage our thought and emotion reaction to life event. It helps us focus our attention to the desired task. It reduces the business of our mind and helps us grow our wisdom. So where does the wisdom come in? So it's a little bit like when you realize that you're processing the information, you're deciding, should I go this way or that way for the best outcome? What do you use as a pool of information to be able to do that? Okay. Some of the stuff may not be technical, right? It's a wisdom. It's kind of like knowledge. It's a wisdom that you need to pull. So it increases that because you're aware of what's going on. If you're not here, you're mostly not knowing what's happening around you. You can't increase your wisdom because you're not here, right? You're not here. So, what is mindfulness? This is probably one of the best definitions I've seen. It comes from a book called Finding the Space to Lead, Practical Guide to Mindful Leadership by Janice Maturano. It says, mindfulness is not a religion, it's not a stress management tool, it's not a relaxation exercise. Even though the outcome is you will feel relaxed, it would help you with stress, but that's not the prime intention. But what mindfulness is about, training yourself to practice your life, not as you hope it will be, not as you expect it to be, not seeing more or less what is here, not with judgment that can lead you to conditioned reaction, but for exactly what you see as it unfolds, meeting each moment with equanimity. Now, I don't have time to talk to you and explain to you what equanimity is about, but simplistically, the equanimity is really about to see the raw signal for what it is, as it is, rather than after you've corrupted it. Okay, so that's equanimity. So, if you want to be mindful, right, you want to live your life, not as you expect it to be, not as you hope to be. Now, there's no problem with hope. We all like hope and expectation. That's an objective. But right in the moment, right, it's like, I don't know, you've got this lion coming towards you, right? You don't hope, oh, no, I must be dreaming. It must be in my sleep. Don't hope, because in the present moment, hope and wishful thinking doesn't help. You need to see what is around you right now so that you can solve the problem and deal with it. Okay, hope doesn't come into it. So I thought that was a real kind of like good expectation. So the various components of mindfulness about teaching ourselves how to train the mind to focus our attention. It's about how do we resensitize ourselves to recognize what's coming into us, either through hearing, sensation, observation, or whatever, in a way that's non-judgmental, in the present moment, in an accepting way, and learning how to let go. Now, letting go is a big problem. Once we cling, get attached to things, we just can't let go. And from a mindfulness point of view, it just clouds, it biases, it causes lots of bias. Okay? So you're not independent, you're not equanimous, because you can't be when you're like that. Maslow hierarchy of needs. Who's heard about Maslow hierarchy of needs? And the reason why I show this is in essence is that if you look at what Maslow says, is that I think we are in the area of esteem need and self-actualization in the Western world. Because a lot of our unhappiness is caused by the fact that we're chasing the wrong thing in life. Because material stuff, I mean, we've got enough material stuff, right? I think there comes a point in your life and in your career, maybe not yet, not now, right? You're still chasing material. There comes a point in your life when you have everything and you say, why am I still unhappy? Okay? So mindfulness helps you see beyond the materialistic world that we're living in. Because the problem statement is very simple for me, right? In the Western world, anyway, problem statement is very, very simple. We have everything we need, and yet we're still not feeling fulfilled in our life. We still don't feel happy. So what's the problem? And the problem is here, inside us. It's not around us. Well, the problem is the marketing people and the news and everybody who's trying to get us to buy stuff. But, you think about it. Every time you buy stuff, you're happy with it for an hour, 2 hours, and then you don't want to see it anymore, right? So thinking that happiness and fulfillment is out of buying stuff is just not true. So mindfulness helps you to go into that journey of discovering that we're chasing the wrong thing. Now, that's not to say that we don't need the basic material stuff. I'm not going to give up my luxury. But I want my luxury and still feel as though I'm living my life for a certain purpose and happy with what I've got. That's what Maslow hierarchy needs is talking about. By the way, this is just an introduction to mindfulness. Hopefully, you university students are good at when doing some more research. All that I'm trying to create this morning is an awareness, an introduction to you that there is such a thing that could help you from a self, from a wellness, from a intellectual point of view that you can go into. Go and look further. There's lots of material, lots of resource on the net. You know, research paper. You go into the psychology section. You go and there's mindfulness research on everything. Okay, so but a lot of people don't know that. Okay, it's what I call it. This is a hidden secret at the moment. People think mindfulness is about acceptance, living in the moment. What does that mean? I'm always living in the moment. But go and read the paper, then you get the depth of what it can provide you, okay, in terms of your life, you know. So, who's heard of Pavlov's dog? Classical conditioning. Okay, we're all Pavlov's dog in here. And one of the problems we have is that we act like Pavlov's dog, and Pavlov's dog stops us from seeing reality for what it is in the context of the present moment. And we need to learn to get this out. Okay? So that's why, again, go and look it up. In terms of the application of mindfulness, it's now being used in 3 different areas. The first one is really for wellness. How do you get all of this emotional stuff that we're suffering in this Western world? All that suffering that we're causing. So that's being used. The second one, which is now starting to move, is efficiency and efficacy at work. Right? How do we stop all the distraction? How do we make use of our focus of attention to be able to use that CPU? Okay? And the third one is, on the Maslow hierarchy of need, how do you get self-actualization? How do you, through mindfulness, starting to learn not to get greedy, not to get envious when somebody else is doing better than you? It's not important. It's you. How do you get that? That's the third portion of it. Can you get that? Okay, I'll just give a few quotes. Man is troubled not by the event, but the meaning he gives them. Again, it's not the event, it's what you interpret, right? I am an old man and have known great many troubles, but most of them never happen. Okay, you're young, okay? I've been through that journey. I'll tell you, a lot of stuff in my life that has been hard never happened. Okay? You create it. You create your own problem. That's so true in there. So mindfulness can help you not to get into that. Okay? All right, cool. I was going to show a video, but there's no time. Any question? But please, go and look it up. Go and look it up. Look it up. And the trend is that this is going to grow. It's going to grow. Because what we stated is that there's a problem. Materialism is not going to get us there. Well, 2 things. Materialism is not going to give us get there, and individualism is not going to give us get us there. 2 things, right? You need to realize that every one of us are connected and form part of that big system, and we work within that system. Very important. So material and individual doesn't work. So start finding that journey, go and do a bit of research, go and do a bit of work. It's worthwhile. Not until you become like me after going through the midlife crisis and thinking, oh my God, what is this life about? Too late, not too late. But I'm giving you a bit of, better stuff than what I had. Wish I could have discovered this 30 years ago, but that's okay. I hope you discovered it now and later. Okay, any question? All cool? Clear as mud. That's just a little flavor. Okay? So hopefully we'll create that internal motivation for you to go and do more stuff. Okay, cool. We good? Yep. Okay, cool.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. That's marvellous.
Okay.
I'll put out an email, if you like.
Sure.
Just to advertise that you actually run courses.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, cool. All right, I don't know how to use this thing.
That's right. I think a small, motivated group that's with you is better than a larger group when people at the back playing with their mobile phones.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Turn that off. Yeah.
Thank you for the lecture.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not the meditation, orientation you teach. It's not like I used to.
No, it's different.
Yeah, so I just have 2 things show up to you. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, sorry, to what?
So I have 2 things.
Yes. Sure, go.
So I think during your meditation, it's important to keep your
Okay. Done. Would you to log out?
Yes, go,
Just log out, not shut down?
Yep.
Yeah, just log out. Yep.
Okay, done. Thank you.
No problem.
At the end. Okay.
Because you
Come down. Yes, to one wall and stuff. Thank you.